Hello everyone, my name is Nomis and welcome back to another episode of Project Zomboid. This video is just going to be the setup for Season 4. That first video is out right now, so make sure to click the card in the top right corner if you want to go watch the first episode of Season 4. In this video, we're just going to be looking at how the world settings are set up, as well as some of the mods that we're going to be playing with in this season. So to start off, we're going to look at the mods here, and we've got quite a few enabled, as you can see. Some of the highlights, though, for the mods that we're going to be using are the Pillows Random Spawn and the Sandbox Plus. And if we go over to the options menu here, we can actually take a look at the Sandbox Plus settings. Here we can set the speed settings for the zombies. So what I've done here is playing mostly with regular settings, but we are having a small chance, a very low chance of sprinters. So every once in a while we should run across some sprinters in our game, which should keep things interesting. This mod also adds realistic fall damage for zombies, so zombies jumping out of second story or higher windows do have a chance of breaking their limbs and turning into crawlers. We've also got a small percentage chance for thumps to open doors. So when zombies are thumping on doors, small chance for them to actually open the door. We've got an alternative combat setting checked off here. And this is essentially the multi-hit system from the base game, but multi-hit should only be enabled if your character has a high enough skill in a certain weapon. So if your short blunt weapon skill is high enough, then there's a chance that you'll be able to hit multiple zombies at once. Otherwise, with low skills, it'll just be one zombie at a time. And lastly, we've got the weather affects zombies. Things like storms will affect how well zombies see and hear. They'll be attracted to lightning, that kind of thing. Thought that would be an interesting setting to have in this season. The Pillows Random Spawns gives us the ability to spawn essentially anywhere on the map in Knox County. This was one of the easiest polls that we've had on the channel. You guys overwhelmingly voted for us to spawn in a completely random location on the map, so that's what we're going to be using in this season. We've also got Dub's Profession mod, which adds several new professions to the character creation screen, which we'll be taking a look at in a moment. We're also going to use the More Traits mod, which adds a lot more traits, just as the name suggests. So we'll be playing around with a variety of new traits. Again, we'll take a look at those in the character creation. We're also going to be using a fair number of mods that will change the systems in the game quite a bit, add quite a bit more content for us to explore. First of those being the AquastarYachtClub, so actually adding in boats to the game. The Autostar Trailers mod, which adds a variety of new trailers for us to check out. Unfortunately, with our last season, even though trailers had been added, we had to explore so much of the map that we didn't actually get to use any trailers, so looking forward to using this one. We've added in a better lockpicking mod, which adds a lockpicking minigame to Project Zomboid. Allows you to lockpick with bobby pins and crowbars, check for alarms, and a better hotwire system. Also adds in a lockpicking skill. Minimal display bars. We played around with this one in a episode or two last season near the end. This will allow us to better visually see where our health level is at. Things like hunger, thirst, endurance, fatigue. You can even have boredom and happiness, temperature, calories, bars for all of those up on screen. We're only going to be using a few of them, but I thought this would be a cool one to add in. And last but not least, for the major mods in this season, we're going to be using the Superb Survivors. We did use the Survivors mod back in build 40 long time ago, and haven't really used it since, so this is a new and improved version for build 41. Looking forward to trying this out and adding some variety to our gameplay, having some NPC characters to worry about. With the Superb Survivors mod, there are some game options that you can set. The main thing that we're going to take a look at here is the survivor spawn rate. We've got that set to extremely low. I don't want our world to be overrun with NPCs, but it would be nice to, every once in a while, come across a friendly or a hostile that could either end up joining us or taking issue with us. So setting that to extremely low. The next two mods here are mods that Slender has been working on tirelessly for the last little while. We added both of these next two into our at the end of our last season. So we've got Vanilla Food Extension here, the image just a placeholder, and the second one called Welder's Saving Grace. So hopefully our character will last long enough for us to be able to dive into all of these recipes. But if you did watch the end of last season, you'll have an idea of kind of what recipes to expect here. Fillibuster Rhymes Used Cars beta version for Build 41 is another mod that we're going to be using this season. This will add a lot more variety to the vehicles available for us out in the world. We're going to try out the Scrap Armor mod as well, which should allow us to craft our own armor out of various metal working recipes, I would gather. Haven't really played around too much with this, but the concept seemed cool. We're also going to use the Taped TV Shows mod. So as you know, if the power is still on when you start your game, you do have the opportunity to tune into some cooking, woodworking, survival type shows on TV to learn some extra skills, to get some extra XP. This mod here allows you to find some taped versions of those shows so that once the shows do run their course in the base game, you're still able to pop these into a VCR, I would assume, and watch them anytime later on in the game. And then last but not least, for the major mods in this season, we got a couple maps that we're going to be adding in here. The first being South Muldrow. So the city's South Muldrow with its military base to the east has been overrun. How long will you survive? And then the second map that we're going to be adding here is the West Point expansion, just on the edge of West Point, on the west edge of West Point, kind of below the construction site. So again, just some more areas for us to explore nearby already known spots. So that does it for the highlight of the major mods we'll be using in this season. If you'd like to see the full list of mods, feel free to check out the description in this video. I'll have them all listed there with Steam Workshop links. Now let's move on to the actual world settings for this game. So we will be playing another custom sandbox because we do like to kind of tinker around with our settings each time we play. And for this season, we've got a preset already set up here, just called Build 41 Season 4. And let's just go through the screens here and see what we're changing. So first screen, we've got a high zombie count. Opted not to go for very high or insane. We're going to be starting in August. Water will be shut off instantly. We'll leave electricity on for up to a month. We're also going to be setting this to 12 months since the apocalypse, so erosion will be full effect. We'll have a lot of overgrowth, a very apocalyptic looking world. The darkness during night is going to be set to dark. As far as the nature settings go, we've set our farming, plant resilience, farming abundance, nature abundance, and compost time. We've kind of made those a little bit harder for ourselves. Set farming speed to slow, plant resilience to low, farming abundance to poor, nature's abundance to poor, compost time, increase that to 3 weeks from 2 weeks. Now with the nature's abundance, we do have a mod here that affects how this works. So it's not so much how much we will find in an area, but the lower the nature abundance, the more likely your area is going to run out and it's going to take a longer time for it to replenish. So as far as events go, we're going to keep our helicopters at sometimes and sleeping vents sometimes as well. Meta-wise, generator spawn is going to be set to extremely rare. Time before corpse removal, I think we've got that set to a month. And blood levels can be set to high. Loot rarity, again, we're setting this to extremely rare, pretty much across the board except for mechanics and literature. We're going to keep that at rare. Our character settings, we're just keeping this vanilla. For vehicles, we'll have vehicles locked sometimes and car alarm frequency set to rare. Zombie lore will be default except for the ability of zombies to trigger house alarms. And for our advanced zombie options, again, we are going with no respawn for our zombies. Population peak day will be 3 months in. We've increased our follow sound distance. We've doubled that to 200. We've increased our rally travel distance and rally groups radius as well. So that brings us to the selection of our occupation and traits. For our occupation, we will be using a new occupation from the Dubs profession mod, and here is a listing of all those new professions. There's some pretty interesting combinations of traits here, but the one that I have decided to go with is the garbage man, which gives us a boost to fitness, sprinting, and gives us that stout trait. And to complement that profession, we're going with some new traits from the More Traits mod. Some of the highlights for the negative traits are this alcoholic mod, which means that our character is going to have to constantly be drinking in order to avoid withdrawal symptoms of feeling stressed, pain, and sickness. We're going to be anemic, so we will bleed much more rapidly from wounds. We're also going to be starting off as injured, so we'll start with some moderate injuries. They'll all be bandaged. We won't be zombified. We're also going to be a self-destructive character, so as our sadness increases in different situations, our maximum health will be decreasing likewise. We're also going to have bad teeth, so consuming food, we may experience some pain, and larger portions will cause more pain. For the positive traits, we'll have flexible, which will increase our nimble stat. We will be a locksmith, so we'll have knowledge of picking, breaking locks, and as well checking vehicles and buildings for alarms. We're also quiet, so an increase to sneaking. Grunt worker, giving us a boost to carpentry and small blunt. We're a Gordonite, so we are an adept at using crowbars as weapons, giving us a higher crit chance with those weapons and increased base damage with a +1 long blunt. We're also going to be ingenuitive, giving us extra crafting recipes that may be otherwise profession specific. We're a tinkerer, we have a habit of tinkering with things, giving us a +1 to electrical mechanics and tailoring. And finally, we're a pack mule, giving us an increase to our overall carry capacity and making strength more impactful on our overall carry capacity. Down at the bottom are major skills. As you can see, quite a few small increases to a variety of skills should make for some interesting gameplay, I think. So that's our occupation and traits. Let's go ahead and start up Season 4.